What's up, guys? Lewin here at GarageBand and beyond. Today I want to tell you guys about one of my favorite pieces of equipment in my studio, which is my little 3Q channel strip from JoeMeek. If you guys don't know what a channel strip is, quickly I'll just tell you, it is a unit, one box that has a preamp, EQ, and a compressor in it. That's pretty much the standard channel strip thing. You know, when they say channel strip, they're sort of thinking about, you know, on a mixer. In the old days, you know, like an SSL or something had all of those things in one strip on the mixer. In later years, they started pulling them out and creating devices just like this little guy right here, which is a fabulous little thing. And so I just wanted to talk about it and just let you guys know how much I like it. And especially for the price, I mean, you find these things going for about $249 online. So under $300 for a channel strip is pretty difficult to find, and especially one that is worth your money. Okay, so we're going to go across the front of mine right here. Here's the EQ, right? So this is a pretty standard thing for any channel strip. Very nice EQ, very well known for its musicality. This EQ does not have a bunch of noise accompanying it or anything like that. It's totally quiet. But the frequencies and the way that these bell curves work is very, very nice. It's totally musical, and there's a reason that everybody who has reviewed this little unit uses that term, a musical EQ. Sometimes the bell curves that are created by EQs on channel strips just aren't, you know, that great. They don't seem to work on all instruments or, you know, like across the board, everything in your studio. It's pretty... it's frustrating when you hit one of those EQs, you know, when you find one of those things and you start dialing in EQs and you're like, wow, why does it sound so terrible? You're not going to have that problem with this guy right here. So that's the EQ. Super nice, super usable. I have found it to be very useful on pretty much 100% of the things that I've recorded. You know, sometimes I just turn that EQ off, which is nice, but especially with something like the SM7b, when you are recording singing, I always like to bring a little bit of the high end out of this microphone, and I will dial back some of the low end, depending on the voice. But it's a really, really nice combination, this SM7b with this little JoeMeek preamp. By far one of my favorite little setups for getting a really nice professional tone. As you all know, the Shure SM7b is one of the most used and most you know, sought after microphones. They're not hard to find, but anybody out there who's looking for a good, inexpensive microphone that is on professional recordings all over the place, get a Shure SM7b, get some sort of a preamp or channel strip of some sort. You're going to need it with this microphone. I mean, I have just plugged this directly into my Focusrite and it worked, but I did have to crank the Focusrite preamp way up where it was starting to get a little bit noisy. And plus the reaction in that particular gain stage was, the reaction of the microphone was a little bit sensitive. So it just gets a little tricky when you're cranking them up. That's why it's nice to have extra gain. And that's why it's nice to have something like a compressor, which you can see, you know, hasn't been firing, I don't think, all that much during this recording. Anyway, the compressor, let's keep going. The compressor right here, optical compressor, you guys. So that means that, you know, it's using a light and a photocell to actually control the compression rate. So just so you know, this is defaulted at a 5:1 ratio. So this compress knob is really just the threshold knob. I do tend to make it release really fast. Sometimes I will have the attack kind of slow. If you do a setup like this, this is really pretty much almost exactly how I set it up for just capturing and taming the high peaks of any, you know, like a guitar signal or a voice or something like that. It's just a really nice way to, you know, grab that peak and then just release it as soon as it can. One of the issues, well, not necessarily an issue, but one of the things you should know about optical compressors is that they are some of the most audible, right? You can hear them a lot, compressors. So it's a thing that you have to either really know what you're doing or just get used to, because it does tend to, if you're not setting it up right, you can really hear it squashing and opening. Really, really heavy optical compression isn't ideal. So I like to use it sparingly on most things. The only place where I use it a lot is on bass guitar. I love this channel strip for bass. It's super nice, and the EQs are great for it. Anyway, the compressor is fabulous because one of the things that it does, especially on a bass or on any instrument really, as it starts squashing and squishing, it does add in a little bit of low end to it, because I think, you know, it realizes or they realized when they designed this thing, that as it was compressing, that it was removing some of the low end and probably too much. So they have it designed in a way where it does add a little bit of the low end that is being removed by the compressor, which is for the bass, right? So it's fabulous for that, okay? So bass guitars, kick drums, stuff like that, it's really, really great at. And then of course you have, the pre-gain knob and the master output knob. A line switch here, of course, so I can, plug in a guitar or whatever into it. And of course you can turn that EQ on and off. So that's pretty much it across the front. Across the back, I'm going to go kind of quickly here. So you do have a line input, which is great. You have an insert point. So that's nice if you wanted to add some sort of outboard effects or something to your signal chain. Then of course you have the mix input, which is pretty obvious. And there are 2 outputs. Now, the reason that this particular unit has 2 outputs, and this will be useful to anyone out there who has an issue with latency, that second output is designed to be a direct monitor, right? So you could technically plug in a set of headphones or plug that into your headphone amplifier. Well, yeah, probably your headphone amplifier of some sort, you would do that. But that is, if your system has a ton of latency and you're just like, I just want to hear my guitar track, that's all I need. You can just monitor out of that second output and have the other output, going to your interface of some sort. So that's just a nice option, not something you find on a lot of these channel strips, but especially in this price range, which I'm not even sure how many different channel strips there are in the $250 range. I have been a JoeMeek customer for over 2 decades. So when I was looking for one and I saw that JoeMeek made one, I just bought it. I was like, I'm just going to buy that. I read a couple of reviews and I was like, yeah, I'm just going to buy that. I've had it now for about 3 or 4 years and it is totally solid. I will say I did buy mine used. And so the only little issue that's developed, and I think it was my fault because I plugged the wrong power adapter into it at one point and the polarity was reversed. Always read the polarities on your power adapters, people. But anyway, so what happens sometimes if I hit the compressor, it will still turn on, but the light doesn't turn on. Whatever, it's a pretty minimal thing. At least it still works, right? But anyway, you can find them used, but I would probably personally recommend that you buy them brand new. You get the warranty and all that stuff, and at $250, it's just not that big of a deal. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about that because this is something that I don't, I think I've made that video a long time ago about, do you need a $100 preamp in your studio? I still think the answer is basically no. I would much rather see people buy something like this instead of some, little, whatever, the ART or the Tube Pre by PreSonus. I know those of you who have them and like them, you like them. I just, I'm not a big fan. I'd rather spend a little bit more money and get something that's a lot more useful and isn't exactly just, just a simple gain increaser. You know what I mean? Like those other preamps, that's all they can do is boost your gain, which is fine. But other things happen when you start boosting gain. So it's nice to be able to control those other things. That's where a channel strip comes in handy. So I think that's pretty much it for the day. Of course, I do want to mention that I have started putting Amazon links to all of the things in my videos now. So if you guys, just want to check it out on Amazon, find out the more details and read the reviews over there, you feel free to click the links below. Patreon page and Facebook page and all that kind of stuff. Feel free to find me in any way you can on the internet and bother me with questions, all that kind of stuff. I do have some great rewards on my Patreon page, so check that out. But in conclusion, I think that the Shure SM7b and the JoeMeek ThreeQ is a fabulous combination for anyone out there looking for a very good system for getting great vocals, any sort of recording. But this microphone, that channel strip, really, really good for the home recording studio. And so I highly recommend these two together. And so you will find links to the Amazon store in the more info area below. All right, you guys, nice quick video for you today. Please leave requests, other video requests in the comments. Jeez Louise. All right, I'm out of here, you guys. Have a great day. I'll talk to you next week. Peace.